Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 3:05. Thanks again for joining us today. I'm going to strongly encourage everyone to use the chat feature on Microsoft Teams. Do me a favor and tell us that you're here. Give us your company name and your contact information. Just as a reminder, this presentation will be recorded and available on our website along with the slide deck later on today. First of all, happy that all of you can join us. If you do have access to a camera on your computer, I would invite all of you to let us see your faces. It helps to better connect in this now virtual world that we are living in. So we are joined by members of the Lakeside team. So even if you can't see us, just know that we are here. So we're pretty excited about being able to present to you today some of the opportunities that we have coming up. If you haven't already done so, please mute your line so that we can minimize feedback as we go through the presentation. We have set aside some time after the presentation to take Q&A. We're going to utilize, again, that chat box, so feel free to chat along with us and let us know what your questions are, and we'll be certain to make certain we're getting those answered. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Junissa.
All right, thanks, Pam. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Wanted to do this just to kind of welcome everyone. As Pam was saying, you know, we did not anticipate doing it in this fashion. For every package that we put out on the project, you know, we have a pre-bid to make sure that everyone's informed about the, you know, some of the high-level particulars about the project. We attempted to do this once before. We had a package 1A and 1B pre-bid. We decided to have this because we had a lot of participants there who were really just there for the 1A, which was the excavation package, and not necessarily this package. So we decided to reboot and do another one. At that time, we didn't anticipate that it would be virtual. So as Pam said, kind of grant us some grace as we work our way through this. So where are we at on the project? This is a presentation. A lot of these things from the presentation is something that we've done before, but we've tailored this specifically to the 1B package. So I'm going to skip over kind of the first slide, which is an introduction of what the project is. I mean, at this point, the Obama Presidential Center, I think most people know what all components the project entails. So I'm not going to go do a deep dive. You know, we have the forum, the museum, the library. The library is the with the most challenging piece being the museum, which is what you see in front of you here, the tower that sticks above the rest of the site. And the forum and library are other buildings supporting the overall presidential center, which are half buried underneath landscaping. If you're looking at it from the lagoon side, you'll see landscaping, and if you're looking at it from the Stony Island side, you'll actually see the the actual buildings. So where are we right now? Despite some of the challenges that we're faced right now with COVID-19 that we're all of us are working around, we're still moving forward with bidding the project. This 1B package is actually the fourth package that we put out. We have previously put out a concrete pre-construction package that successfully in December, and we've been working quite a bit through interviews, and we're close to making a award on that. The maintenance of traffic, which is some of the enabling work to help support the closing of South Midway Plaisance, that was bid. Award is pending as well on that. We are still out the street on the earth retention package, which we have bids due next Monday. And then this package we're putting out on the street on April 6th. I kind of run through all of that just to kind of reinforce that this project is moving forward. We've had quite a few discussions with the client on, over the past 2 years that we've been engaged of what the sweet spot is and what's the right time to go to the street. We had meaningful discussions in December about, still with a few uncertainties out there, that this is the right time to go to the street to take advantage of a fall groundbreaking. And even as late as a week ago, the client's still on board with this approach. So we still feel fairly confident about the fall start for this project. So I'm not going to go. This slide that you see here, it's just kind of outlines. It's one that's on our website and we've presented before. It kind of goes through big picture bidding packages throughout this year. All the design documents by fall of this year, all the design documents for the entire project is expected to be released, and we'll be bidding into the fourth quarter with some of the architectural, MEP, landscaping trades. But this package for the 1D is really for some of our initial trades: the site clearing, the geothermal caissons, mass excavation, dewatering. So the rest of the team is gonna jump in and kind of go through some of the specifics. But I wanted to give you the overview of where we are on the project and just kind of give you some sense of comfort that despite some of the challenges with approvals and then now the COVID, we're still moving forward with bidding to be able to support a successful launch in this fall. Yeah, I think this was my kind of the overall slide of what we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to hand it over to Lindsay to walk through some of the specifics of what's in this package.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lindsay Gregory. I'm with Lakeside Alliance, and I'm just going to kind of walk us through what the agenda is going to look like for the next few minutes. So I'll talk about the bid timeline, and then after the bid timeline, Ron Lewis will jump in and talk about site and logistics. And then following that, I'll come back and talk through invitation and the scope of services. And then Pam will talk through D&I impact program. And then finally, Nick Zamorski will talk to the procurement plan. So what you should see on your screen right now is the bid timeline. So we are targeting for issuing packages today, and those packages are site clearing, mass excavation, dewatering, caissons, and geothermal wells. We are setting aside some time between now and the bid due date to have you provide any RFIs that you see from the bid documents, anything that's not clear. So we're looking for your bid RFIs by the 17th. And before that, we are planning another meeting if anyone needs to get any additional clarifications before formalizing their RFIs. The bids will be due on May 5th, and we are looking to issue subcontracts somewhere about the beginning of July. So I'll turn it over to Ron.
Okay, this is Ron Lewis. I hope everyone is having an excellent, outstanding day, and we're moving forward in these trying times, but we're all taking one day at a time. Now, what you see on your screen right now is basically the site plan overview. And the big thing that I just want to talk about today on this particular slide is I just want everybody to notice how much green is on this slide. And what that means is basically there will be more green after this project is complete that is currently at the project site, which I think is phenomenal when you have so many new buildings on a site and you have more green land than when you started. Now, a portion of that green land was courtesy of sacrificing Cornell Drive, which in the original Olmsted plan, Cornell Drive wasn't there. It was put in after. So this gets us back basically to the Olmsted original plan of the park. And we can go to the next slide, please. This here is our logistics plan as far as getting onto and off the site with employees.
Jay Trout, Geothermal Incorporated,
is now joining.
Okay, this is basically the logistics plan for getting personnel and vehicles on and off the site. We have a number of gates, 8 located around the site, but only particular gates will be used at particular times for particular purposes. Now, I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Stony Island, where the project is. Pretty much to the west, to the southwest, is Hyde Park Academy. And also across the street, we have a lot of senior citizens and apartments. What that means to us is we have to be very careful coming down Stony Island, employees and our truck traffic. Also on Stony Island, at the beginning of the project, there is the potential for a couple of other entities to be in Stony Island, namely CDOT, Commonwealth Edison, and Department of Water Management. And so that is okay. That's why we have multiple gates. And what we're going to do when they have Stony Island pretty much inaccessible to us, we're going to be coming in at gate 5, which is on Cornell Avenue, which is at the southeast corner of this plan. You can probably see there is a blue line there. That is going to be our Jersey barriers and fence. We are going to have 2 lanes of the active Cornell for our haul road. And so we'll be able to come in. They have a turn lane there at gate 5. And so our trucks can be in the turn lane and then turn into the site. And gate 4 will be exiting off of the site on Cornell, avoiding Stony Island as much as we possibly can. This site is going to be pretty tight as far as once you're on the site. As you can see, the buildings in the middle of the site, once we have the footprint of all the buildings coming from the north, from the museum, all the way to the garage, pretty much all of that is going to be a bathtub and, pretty, inaccessible for the most part as far as storage and things of that nature. Immediately to the left or the north of the museum, there's that light area, the women's garden. It's got the big circle in it. That's where the trailer complex is going to be for Lakeside Alliance and the owners team and these owners rep team. And so that would be a very limited area. You won't be able to have storage there. All the way to the south, which is to the right of this plan, down by the Program Athletic and Activity Center, that is going to be an area where we're going to have our trade coordination area. And there will be, very limited storage down on that end. And that'll be, with our superintendent, we'll be deciding on how that layout is. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because this is a 19.3 acre site. It's very narrow and very long, and there is really no space to really put anything down on it. And so we need everyone to be very conscious of just bringing the materials to the site that will be installed fairly quickly. Because if you even just look at the haul roads around the site, you look at the haul roads and you look at the building, there is very little square footage for anything else to pretty much set down. So we just want everybody to keep that in mind. Now, another reason I need you to keep that in mind is for the mass excavation in particular, where we're going to be having a large quantity of trucks running from the site to the dump. We cannot have trucks stacking up on Stony Island trying to get into the site. We cannot have trucks stacking up on Cornell trying to get into the site. And so we are going to have a system in place that we can time the trucks as far as when they're coming onto the site. This really shouldn't be a big problem because basically on Stony Island, just north of 95th Street, starting from 95th, quite probably up to 83rd Street, there is a lot of public parking on Stony Island that large trucks can park on. And then, get to the site in a timely fashion. Because like I said, what we don't want to happen is to have all these trucks stacked up, then start having the neighbors, our friends, start calling the aldermen because they can't get in and out of their house because that project has got trucks blocking up everything. So we need to be very conscious of that. It can work very well. There's no reason we can't make this work as a team. But I just want everybody to be aware that we have to be very conscious of how trucks get to the site and the quantity. Now, we plan on having a very efficient loading of trucks on site as far as getting on and getting off. But we still have to have help where, if you got 30 trucks coming that day, all 30 can't be there at, minute 1 of the start of excavation. And pretty much it. That's the site logistics. Oh, the most important thing, if you run over a Hyde Park Academy student, just keep going. That's it.
Oh God, please don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, thank you, Ron, for that. So now that you've gotten a feel for what the expectations are for the logistics and where your entrances and egresses are, I'm going to talk through the documents and the deliverables. So what you're going to receive are the documents that are listed here, which include the invitation to bid, the bid form, which we expect back fully signed and executed, diverse and local business plan also need back signed and executed. You receive the additional provisions, which supplements the drawings and the specifications. And then you'll also receive the scope sheet that we would want back signed and fully executed. Interviews for bid packages will be scheduled. So once we receive your bids on or about May 1st, after that, you'll hear from Nick Zamorsky or Sonia Avila scheduling your interviews. Next slide, please. So these are the documents that are going to be uploaded to Building Connected. Hopefully everyone has a Building Connected account. If not, we will tell you how to get access to Building Connected for access to the documents. So I just talked through the bid packages, invitation to bid, the bid form, the D&I plan, and the scope of work that will be uploaded to Building Connected. There'll also be a separate file folders for drawings and specifications. We will include a document list. We will also include the project schedule. There's a procedure manual which incorporates the safety manual that you should be very much aware of. The Phase 2 environmental assessment report and the geotechnical report will also be included in Building Connected for your use and review for your bid. Next slide, please. All right, so other things to consider for your bid. Taxes, this is a tax exempt project. So all taxes should be excluded from your proposal where applicable. So if it's permanent to the structure, you can claim tax exempt. If it is not, then you need to include the taxes. This will be a CSIP project, so you have to include, don't include any on-site insurance, but off-site insurance should definitely be excluded. So off-site excluded, on-site excluded. Payment and performance bond, if you can go back just one more, thank you. So the payment and performance bond should also be excluded from your base proposal, but we do have an ad alternate identified in the bid package to identify what your payment and performance bond costs are. That's all that I have. I'll turn it over to Pam now for outreach.
Thanks, Lindsay. So many of you have maybe are familiar with this slide. When we talk about the diversity and inclusion program or the economic impact program for the Obama Presidential Center, mainly like 3 buckets: outreach, diverse enterprise, and then workforce goals. So the outreach, be it virtual, is happening right now. So here we are. Maurice, advance to the next slide for me, please. So many of you know that the project has a 50% utilization goal for diverse business enterprises. That is the global, that's the floor here. That's broken out into a 35% MBE, 10% WBE, and then a blend, if you will, of VBE, SDBE, LGBTQ, and BEPD at 5%, and then local businesses at 7%. It is important to note that the project, we are able as Lakeside Alliance to recognize both local and national certifications. That information is actually outlined in your bid documents there. So as I said, globally, the project is a 50% utilization goal, and that we know that that is the floor, and not all packages historically have been able to participate in the traditional economic impact program, but we expect each and every subcontractor to maximize their opportunities within each of their packages to the best of their ability. So keep that in mind. So if you say that This is a bid package that traditionally you have a hard time meeting certain goals and things of that nature. Just know that there are other contractors who are bidding that same work. So we expect you to maximize your participation as best you can. Next slide, please. Again, this is just a list of some of the certifications that we are able to recognize. As a local business resource, we invite you to actually reach out to the South Shore Chamber of Commerce. It's an organization that has its arms in a lot of different local communities and is working closely with a lot of the different businesses in the local community area. Again, these are areas which are outlined in your bid documents that you will see later today. Workforce goals. Again, City of Chicago goal of 50%. This is something different here for us. The South and West Side of Chicago is a 35% goal. So the Obama Foundation, along with Lakeside Alliance, in an effort to really reach those populations of folks who have historically been left out in some way, shape, or form, this is the ability to kind of do a little bit more boots on the ground networking and outreach to South and West Side residents. Many of you may not know, but Lakeside Alliance actually co-founded a workforce consortium about 2 years ago, and it's made up of about 7 different organizations, 2 of which are labor organizations, the carpenters and the local 134 electricians. So they've been meeting and working together for the past 2.5 years to make certain that they are engaging community residents and folks who have a desire to want to learn more about how do you go into the trades, how do you stay engaged, what things do you need to put in place in order to make you a good candidate, if you will. So we know that the goals that we have on this project are pretty intense. And so we have no intention on having you go at this alone. So we do have a lot of resources that we put together for you. Here listed on this slide is Sharon Laston. She is our contact person for the We Can Build It Consortium, the Partnership for Community Jobs. So as you're looking to figure out how you're going to staff your project or what opportunities you'll have available, we encourage you to reach out to Sharon to talk more about what it is you're looking to do in your particular bid package. Next slide. For your viewing pleasure, we've actually included a map of the city, and highlighted in blue are those communities that we consider to be west and south sides. This is part of your bid documents as well. And then the local residents, that's highlighted in green at 10%. So again, we know that the goals here on the project, they're far reaching, but again, we never want any of you to think that you have to go at this alone. So feel free to reach out for any other additional questions, and then we'll be certain to make certain that we're putting you in contact with the right resources to make certain that your response is as holistic and addresses all of the different things that we'll be looking for.
All right, so next we'll talk a little bit about the evaluation process that we'll use when we receive proposals and bids back from the various companies. We'll be taking a look at the bid packages that we've talked about today. So we'll really be looking at these proposals in 3 different ways. So we'll be looking at them from a commercial aspect, and 35 points will be assigned to the commercial aspects. We'll be looking at diversity and inclusion plan that you've included. There's a couple schedules that we'll ask for when you submit your bids. Diversity and inclusion will be 40 points. And in a few minutes, Pam will talk a little bit more about some of the specifics that we'll be looking at from a diversity and inclusion standpoint. And then we'll also be taking a look at the proposals from an operational aspect. That'll be approach to the project, schedule, logistics, that sort of thing. And then we'll be looking at qualifications of your company and key individuals on your team. And the reason we wanted to spend a few minutes on the evaluation process is that this is different than a lot of other projects, and we really do mean what we say about doing business differently, and really, taking a focus on doing things different and including diverse businesses in a meaningful ways. And you can see from the evaluation process, evaluation criteria, that we're awarding significant points to the diversity and inclusion plan that's submitted with your bid.
So as Nick said, we wanted to do a deeper dive and give people a fair chance in knowing how we're going to evaluate your bid as it relates to diversity and inclusion, recognizing that it is worth more points in this particular instance. And we wanted to give you a framework for which you should be responding. So we're looking at the diversity of your responding team. Have you selected a joint venture partner, or have you selected a company or a subcontractor that is getting or is involved in some sort of mentor-protege relationship? How are you working with the subcontractor marketplace there? The committed workforce participation. Again, this is not just about the letter of the law, but the spirit of the program, and how are you pretty much introducing your package or company to your bid package? What have you done on other past projects? What have you done to meet those goals there? What examples can you give us? Because we know that these are really pretty progressive goals, and you just can't get there overnight. Your commitment to business and your commitment to business diversity, and your plan to succeed. The diversity of the team members assigned to the project. Have you selected a person who will be in charge of the Economic Opportunity Program? And then transformative ways in which you want to build the capacity of a diverse business, or are you engaging returning citizens within your particular bid package, or are you creating career opportunities for minorities, women, and youth? We just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things we're going to be looking at in your responses when we get those back. Nick?
All right, so next we'll talk about the pre-qualification process a little bit. I know a number of companies have already completed the pre-qualification process, and we really do thank everyone who's completed that so far. So first-tier bidders must be pre-qualified with Lakeside Alliance. So if you are intending to submit a bid directly to Lakeside Alliance for any of the scopes of work that we're talking about today, you need to go through the pre-qualification process. If you intend to participate as maybe a second tier or as a material supplier who would not be submitting directly to Lakeside, then you do not need to worry about the pre-qualification process. To get started with the pre-qualification, you'll want to go to the Lakeside Alliance website, and you can do that by going to lakesidealliance.com. And when you go to lakesidealliance.com, you'll click on opportunities and careers, and then you'll go to the pre-qualification form. And this is just a sample of what the pre-qualification form will look like. It'll ask for some basic information about your company, as well as the bid package that you're interested in pre-qualifying for. So you would submit this form on the Lakeside Alliance website, and then you would be redirected to the Turner Construction website. We're leveraging the resources of our partners to complete the balance of the pre-qualification. And if there's any questions as you're going through the pre-qualification process, my information is listed on the bottom of this page. Don't hesitate to reach out, and I can assist with any portions of the pre-qual that you might have questions with. So Lindsay had talked about this a little bit earlier. So today we'll be issuing an invitation to bid for site clearing, dewatering, the excavation packages, the caisson packages, as well as the geothermal wells. We'll also be having an early landscaping package, and that'll be coming out in a week. So that'll be published. The invitation to bid will be published through Building Connected on April 13th. All of these invitations to bid, they'll be going out through Building Connected. That's where you'd receive the invitation. We ask that any RFIs that you have also be submitted through Building Connected, as well as your proposals. And you'll see some more instructions on that when you receive the bid documents. Again, first-tier bidders must be pre-qualified with Lakeside Alliance. We have this information on our website as well. This is a list of all the bid packages with approximate sizes, just to give folks kind of a concept of what the different packages look like. You can see we have a couple different packages for areas for the mass and structural excavation, as well as a couple different packages for dewatering. And like I said, you can find this information on the website, and we'll post this presentation there after we're done today as well, so you have access to this information again. All right, and then a couple, contacts with Lakeside Alliance. So, I'm Nick Zamorski, one of the procurement agents for the project. You can reach out to me with any questions on these packages. Working alongside of Sonia as well. She's one of our procurement agents in this project as well. Both happy to answer questions. when you receive the invitation to bid through Building Connected, each of us are leads on certain packages. So we would ask that when you receive the invitation, look to see who the lead is
Unknown
for.
participant is now joining.
Look to see who the lead is for the bid package and reach out to that person with any questions that you may have. And our information, again, will be in Building Connected and on our Lakeside Alliance website. So next we'll get to the question and answer portion. So what I would ask is if people have questions, if you can open up the chat window, and that's probably the easiest way of kind of going through, ask your question through the chat window. We'll read your question out and then we'll answer it. So we'll give people here a minute or two to go ahead and type any questions. And I realize some folks are on your phone or your mobile. So once we get through the chat window here in a couple minutes, then we'll go to anybody on the phone or without computer access to answer your questions as well. And don't be shy with the questions. So we've got the first question, do contractors need to qualify separately for each package? So what we would ask is that on the Lakeside Alliance website that you would submit one of those forms for each package that you're interested in. You only need to submit one pre-qualification in our partner system in the Turner Construction system. That'll just ask for general information about your company, and you only need to do that process once, but do the form on Lakeside Alliance for each package, please. All right, so the next question that we have is the time frame for site clearing to mass excavation and overlap. Either Ron or Scott, I'll let one of you guys jump in and kind of talk about the sequencing a little bit, just from a real high level. We'll have some more information in that in the bid documents, but we can give kind of a high level overview of that today on the phone here.
Okay, this is Ron. The site clearing is going to start first, obviously, and the mass excavation is, I'm not going to give you an exact duration, but there in the project schedule, it shows clearly where the mass excavation starts versus when the site clearing starts. So yes, the site clearing is going to have a good jump, and obviously they'll be beyond where the mass excavator needs to be when he needs to start his work.
And we'll publish a detailed schedule when you receive the invitation to bid. There'll be a schedule attachment there as well. Once you've had a chance to review that, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. The next question is, will Lakeside Alliance be contracting the trucking directly or only subcontract through excavation contractors? So at this point, the packages that we'll be sending invitations out for today, haul off of any spoils is included in those bid packages. So that would not be something, trucking would not be something that Lakeside would be subcontracting directly for these packages. Now that being said, we will post on the Lakeside Alliance website a list of the bidders who we know intend on submitting bids directly to Lakeside Alliance, so that if you are a material supplier, a trucker, that sort of thing, you would know who to reach out to, you know, to discuss potential opportunities for this project. All right, the next question we have is, with us not being a City of Chicago governed project, will the certifications be allowed to be stacked? In the example, will a minority and veteran certified contractor be counted towards both goals? I don't know, Pam, if you want to just jump in and answer that question.
Sure, thanks, Nick. You will not be able to stack certifications. You will have to choose whether or not you're using it as
Is now exiting.
We'll take that back. Actually, you will have to choose between whether or not someone is a minority or a woman. However, if you happen to be using a minority or woman-owned contractor who is also a local business, that would count. But as far as the different statuses, you can't stack the certification.
All right, the next question that we have, do you expect an OUC submittal for this work? Lindsay or Ron, do one of you want to jump in and just address the submittals and permits for this work?
Yes, there will be an OUC permit. We are in process, the client is in the process of securing the permit. We still have to get, you know, for example, like the earth retention, we have to get the shop drawings, but yes, the bottom line is there will be an OUC permitting.
All right, thanks, Ron. Next question that we have, do you have a PLA in place? Pam, would you like to talk about the PLA a little bit?
Sure. We are currently negotiating. The PLA is in negotiations right now with the Cook County Building Trades. So respond as if the PLA is in place.
All right, so the next thing I'd like to do, I'd like to give folks who might be not in front of their computer, on a cell phone, just on the phone, an opportunity to answer some questions. So hopefully we can do this without everyone jumping in at once. But we'd like to give those folks an opportunity. When you ask your question, if you could just let us know your name and company as well, too, please. Any questions from anyone on the phone out there?
Yeah, this card excavating. The one question I have is, I thought there were not going to be a requirement for bid bond or bonding, and I heard someone say a few minutes ago that bonding was required. Is that a misunderstanding on my part?
So as far as bonding goes, you will not be required to provide a bid bond, and we're asking for a payment and performance bond alternate. So it would not be included in your base price. It would just be listed as an alternate. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, to be clear, you said the payment and performance bond should be put as an option, as an alternate?
That's correct. And you'll see some information in the bid documents and on the bid form listing that out.
Okay, gotcha. That answers the question.
Other questions from anyone on the phone?
Yeah, the other question, Ron, Willie Carter Excavating again. Ron mentioned the site clearing packages will be starting sooner than later, but he didn't give a date. So can you give a date on that, or do we have that already?
The starting date for the site clearing package will be in the schedule that comes with the packages. You'll have the full schedule.
Okay. Got you. Very good.
Hey, Nick, you got a few questions online. Don't know if you want to hit that. A couple of follow-up questions regarding the M&W and how the certifications are stacked, and then probably some specific questions on dewatering that you want to. I mean, I'll do the quick answer on the dewatering. You'll see those durations, and you'll see what we have for contractors to supply their own power. That'll be in the package that goes out. So the durations you'll be able to is in the documents that you'll see. And right now, you need to assume that you're providing your own power.
So, Jennifer, I see the question about the not stacked certification. So the question was, how about if not stacked, can separate dollar values be assigned, i.e. splitting up a trucking contract to a woman-owned business and a veteran-owned business? That is allowed because you would be creating opportunity, you'd be creating opportunities for more companies to participate.
All right. Any other questions from anyone at all? Okay, perfect. I don't know, Junissa, do you have any closing remarks, or Pam at all?
I would just like to thank everyone.
I'll do one. Pam, you close better than anyone. I'll just say, just for where we start, I really, what Lindsay hit on, and with some of the answers to the questions, with look at the documents, we really put a good amount of effort into the documents that come out, and I think a lot of the questions that that you have initially will be answered there. We assume that a lot of what's in the documents will also generate quite a few more questions. So we're really looking forward to getting those questions for you. But please jump in early and jump in heavy. Sequencing for this scope is pretty important. So please jump in. Please ask as many questions as you can. The more questions we have, it helps. Helps clarify what the scope is, what the requirements are, how to approach it, and then just basically helps you all provide the best bid that you can. Really look forward to having this next discussion on next Wednesday ahead of the RFI due date. I will say that the RFI due date of next, not this Friday, the next Friday is a real date, just because some of the questions we can answer for means and methods, but we have a pretty extensive design consultant team that will need to some time to address some of these questions as well. So please be mindful of those dates. And I can just tell you, we are super excited that we're out to bid on these packages. That we've taken a couple of years of pre-con and now are to the point where we're doing something. We're talking more meaningful as as opposed to just an estimate discussion or a concept. This is real. So we'd appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys all joining and being a part of this and really being have an interest to be a part of the project.
So with that, Junissa, thanks. Again, thank you all so much for taking some time out of your day to join us to talk more about these packages. We are definitely in some very uncertain times and unprecedented times, but as the Lakeside Alliance, even though we're all working virtually right now, we still intend on being a resource to you and your organization as you navigate our pre-qualification process or have any questions about any of your concerns about the opportunities that are on the horizon. So please feel free to reach out. We would ask that if you have specific questions regarding the bid packages that you field all those questions to both Nick and Sonia, and they will make certain that they are getting to the right people on our team. But please know that we are still
if I can add, Pam,
available to answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, any specific questions on the bid package, please submit those through Building Connected as a message, so we can make sure that it's tracked and addressed properly.
Good point, Nick. We want to make certain that we are, no one's being left out and nothing is being, nothing is falling through the cracks there. So cannot stress it enough that even though we are all working remotely and virtually, we are still intended to be a resource for you and your organization. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and good luck to you. Hope your families are staying safe. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.